Can I have recording permission first?
Should have it. So you've got it, Rob?
No, I've not got it.
Yeah, okay. Like I said, apart from obviously Callum Patterson, it's going to be a longer term injury. That one, it's a muscular injury, but we don't anticipate having him around for a large number of weeks. We think potentially, if he does come back, it'll be towards the latter part of the season, if at all any. But that'll be dependent on his rehabilitation. So. It's a bit of a bitter blow for us, to be fair, Rob, in terms of it. But it turned out with the scan results to be a lengthy layoff, that one.
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult, that, isn't it? Because he's been such a useful player for you, playing a number of different roles.
Yeah, and that's why it's probably such a... I mean, we don't want to lose any one of our players, but certainly with Callum, we feel that... to lose him because he plays in so many variety of positions, it's a bitter one to swallow. But as I said, he's over to the medical team now, and we'll see what they can do with him, if at all anything. But as I said, Rob, if he does come back, it'll be the latter parts of the season.
And is Reece James still coming along well? Is he closer?
Yeah, he's okay. Reece James is, I'd put him in a category stage of 50-50. He's ahead of the game. He's trained the last few days. He seems okay. So, yeah, he's doing really well.
Big game this one, isn't it, Darren? What do you expect from Ipswich?
I expect what I've expected from them all season, in terms of where they are in the league table and the form guide that they've shown. They've always been involved in games. If you are to beat them, it's been real close games. They play front foot football, they play wonderful, good football, attractive football, the patterns are good, and they're a well rehearsed and coached team, as you can see, and got good energy, good firepower, so we expect a good game, but they're no different than what we expected. They're good quality opposition, and again, certainly for us, for the second week running, Rob, it's another good game. Obviously for us, it's another game. Obviously for you, the media guys, obviously there's more icing on the cake, if you like, because of the position of the both teams.
You've won some big games recently, the Newcastle game, the Plymouth game. How much does having that in your back pocket, that experience of winning big games, help going into one like this?
Yeah, obviously it's going to help in terms of, coming into that, what you would call a big game mentality. But again, for us, it's about us remaining calm, positive, a continuation of the platform that we've given ourselves and continuing to build on that platform, Rob. Because even though they're deemed big games, they've all been played in different aspects, really, in terms of the context of the game, different shapes, different formation, different personnel, all those again. And we expect the same again with Ipswich, it to be a different game again. Obviously the large crowd, we play in front of a large crowd, so in terms of that being, the players are used to that here. But again, it's a wonderful game. It's a game that when we started off of the season, if we wanted to have any continuity and any success to our league programme, then we knew games like this was going to always be on the horizon. So it's come upon us now. We played the game and prepared the game like we have with any other game. Nothing's different from our point of view, Rob, from here. And we get ready to contest a very difficult fixture.
Do you anticipate, though, a bit of desperation from them, because they need to win this game, and if they were to lose, Darren, there's a chance they could be fifth in the table by the end of the night? So do you have to expect that they're going to come for this, that they will feel like they've got to win, and how do you plan and prepare for that?
I would imagine, with them being the home team, the onus has always been at them to come at opposition, so I don't think it'll be any different. I would imagine down there in front of the home crowd, they're expected to win games. There's a demand from the home crowd, so I don't envisage it being any different, irrespective of the magnitude of the game and what people would look at the game to be deemed. what we're doing is, and Rob, what I'm just completely just focusing on us. They've got their own prerogative. We've got our own in terms of being ready and prepared for the game, and that's the thing where we can't look at the aspects that's in and around it. If you win the game, you go this amount of points and everything else, because those are the things that are grey areas that we can't affect now. What we can just try and do is make sure that we're prepared as best as we possibly can and be effective in our approach and our performance tomorrow. And I think that's what it is. We know here at Sheffield Wednesday that if we are to go down there, the players know that they're going to have to perform and perform very, very well.
Thanks, Darren. All the best.
Thanks, Rob. Cheers.
Afternoon, Darren. How you doing?
Yeah, good. Thanks, Joe.
Good stuff. Just before we get onto the football, I want to ask about Elaine. It's obviously her funeral today. I just wondered if you could sort of give a few words about Elaine. I know she was incredibly popular around Sheffield Wednesday as a club.
Yeah, wonderful. A fantastic lady that, being here as a manager, I've heard so many wonderful stories within the club and outside the club, and I'm sure at the funeral today she'll have a large following of people showing their utmost respect for what she did, not just in and around the football club, but in friends and family away from the club. Me certainly, along with one or two of my staff members, will be going down to Hillsborough in a bit to see the drive-by and pay my respects, and we wanted to do that really on behalf of the players here. She was a fantastic lady, a wonderful, loyal servant to this football club, and the platform where Sheffield Wednesday is as a club, and she certainly played her part in it in terms of that. So sadly missed, but never forgotten.
Just on that, so are you going to go see the drive-through, and then are you going to head down to Ipswich on your own afterwards?
That's right, yeah.
Right, okay. Brilliant. How important are people like Elaine, not just for the community, but for the football club in particular?
Well, Joe, these are the what I call the unsung heroes, the ones that we don't get to see. We all see the players on the pitch and the manager and everything else, and we see that, but there's so many working components at a football club on a day-to-day basis that we don't get to see or hear about, these unsung heroes, and certainly Elaine is certainly in that category, because she never moaned, never grumbled, got on any work given, task given, she went with it wholeheartedly, for the love of the football club, and that's why she's sadly missed, and it was a real, when the news broke around the football club in all departments, there was a real sad and somber mood, but a real joyful mood amongst us all, because the hard-working lady she was, but also a lady that when you was within her company, you felt her presence, and she really made you feel included, and that's a special lady in every sense, really. So, as I said, that I wanted to get down there and pay my respects today, and I'll gladly do so.
Brilliant, and yeah, I'm sure, like you say, there'll be a good following down there for us, sort of paying their respects as well. Just onto the upcoming game. You mentioned Pato, and you mentioned sort of 50-50 with Reece. Is there anyone else that you're particularly concerned about? Is there anyone else that might miss out for this one?
Yeah, no, not at the moment, but hopefully everybody else will come through, and we'll be okay. But obviously those two are a concern, but more so Pato than it is Reece.
Brilliant. And just lastly for me, I will keep it quick today. With this Ipswich team, there's been sort of a lot said about the money they've spent, the budget that they've got. Do you think that there is increasing pressure on them now, considering the form that they've been in recently?
You'd have to speak to them, really, and their board of directors, because that's their remit in terms of it. Yes, it's been highly documented, the money that they've spent considerably at the level that we're at, but that's been their remit. If they've got it, they wanted to spend it, and they have done so, and they've done it well in terms of the footballers that they've recruited, and I'm speaking from a professional point of view with the footballers they've brought in, are good players. But again, what we've got to do, that's why I go back to our game, and we know that when we go down there for the game tomorrow, we know that we're going to have to be at our level best really to come away from there with a positive result. We go into the game in a positive frame of mind. We go into the game with the boys mentally and physically in a good place and looking to build. But again, we turn the page and we wipe the surface clean. It's another game, and it's another game that we have to look to build and continue our own form going and get better at who we are and what we are tomorrow. So we look forward to the game, and hopefully to what the game builds on paper, it'll be played out in that manner as well.
Brilliant. Cheers, Dan. See you down there.
Cheers, Joe. Thank you.
Hey Dan, you okay?
Yeah, good. Thanks, Ricky.
Good stuff. Yeah, just wanted to touch on Reece James. So did you say he's 50-50 for tomorrow? Is that correct?
Yeah, I'd say 50-50. He's trained. He has trained, Ricky. But again, and he's well ahead of schedule, which is so good, really, to have him back. And we know, especially losing Patterson, just how versatile Reece can be as well. So that's why we're really pleased to have him back. And as I said, he's trained. He's a fit boy. And to have him back available for the squad just gives us one or two other options.
Stuff. Obviously, if he does come in, he's coming into a defence which is, I was looking at the stats earlier. I think you're coming up to 9 hours without conceding in the league, and I think you've only let in twice in the last 11 games, which is, that kind of like gets forgotten, I suppose, doesn't it? When the defence has been a massive part of this run.
Yeah, absolutely, and I know that the defenders will take a lot of plaudits and I suppose the goalkeeper in keeping those clean sheets, but it's been a joint effort by everybody, Ricky. I'm a firm believer that defending starts from the front two, really, in terms of that, or the front line, and that's what we've been really, really important, that we've been stressing, that when we have played games, that it's been really, really important, being a joint team, even though the defensive unit will get the plaudits, but it's going to, and we've spoken about that. If we are to continue it, we have to continue that good form that we've been showing, but that togetherness, really, and certainly we're going to have to be at our level best tomorrow, because again, we know about Ipswich's attacking players that they've got, and the different variations and combinations they can play. So, as I said, defensively we're going to have to be really good tomorrow and be ready.
And obviously, if you were to get the win, it'd feel like a real, a huge week. You get the Plymouth win last week, but then to follow it up and back it up kind of with a win against Third, that'd be a hell of a statement, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and again, I'll go back and with the statements and that, Ricky, for me, nothing changes. What do I mean? Since I've arrived at Sheffield Wednesday, what's been our remit? Win games. What's the remit now? Continue winning games. So since we've been at the club, probably 2 years, I'm coming up to my 2-year anniversary mark. Since joining the football club, I've always come here with a remit of putting a team on the pitch that's competitive, a team on the pitch that plays good football, and a team on the pitch that win games. And even though we've reached this point and at this part of the season and how the games build, nothing changes from my mental and psychological point to the game, and how I've been working with a group of players, and that's been the remit, and that will continue being the remit for this game and beyond this game, and for every game that we contest here at Sheffield Wednesday.
And just lastly from me, I know you obviously spoke about the blow with losing Patterson to injury. I know there was reports earlier this week about the club opening talks with him. How does this injury affect that? Because obviously he's out of contract into the end of the season.
No, that won't affect anything. It won't affect anything at all with it, because he's out for a sustained period of time, and yes, if he is to get back before the end of the season, any football he plays will be a bonus. The reason why I don't rule him out, Ricky, because he's a quick healer, to be fair to him. But as I said to him, anything that comes of this, it will be a bonus for him. But in terms of any talks, that won't disturb anything at all.
Was he like obviously affected by it when the results came back? Because I imagine he's that kind of character, isn't he? He wants to play every game.
He just wants to play, but he was super positive, and you know, he accepts it. Obviously, there's always that initial disappointment with it because they want to play, and he was in a good place, and the positions that he played for us, whatever position we put him in, he seemed to be doing a great job. And as I said, you know, playing him at that right wing back role, he not only did he come up with the goal, but his performance was absolutely incredible. So to lose him is a blow for him, but also as a team, we know as a group we have to move on. And as I said, you know, the position that he's left and vacated, somebody else will fill, and we wish him a real speedy recovery.
Cheers, Darren. See you tomorrow.
Cheers, Ricky. Thanks.
Hiya, Darren. You okay?
Yeah, good. Thanks, Leon.
Yeah, listen, I've only got a few. I know time's precious. I was just thinking these games where it's a full house, there's loads of expectation and pressure. You seem to sort of relish those. I mean, I remember when you went first in at West Brom, God, you went in there and everything was on the line and massive focus and you know, you seem to keep you cool and it brings the best out of you. You sort of really enjoy them.
Yeah, and I think that's the best way to be, Leon. Really, is to enjoy the occasion, enjoy the atmosphere, and enjoy the magnitude of the game, what it is. And as I said, if you are to enjoy any success in any season, then along the way, Leon, you're going to be facing games like these. And it's credit to all here connected at Wednesday, and we have to just keep marching on. The next stop and hurdle is against Ipswich, and hopefully the game will be played out in the right manner. As I said, you got two good teams going head to head again tomorrow in the division. You know, first against third, and you know, both teams have an attacking prowess about them, gameplay about them. So hopefully, as I said, it'll be built in the right manner. But in terms of me as an individual, wherever the game is, at what level in the table it is, and what the fixture is, there's always that level of competitiveness with me, and that consistency and that continuity.
Who did you learn most of in terms of, you know, keeping cool? You know, you've got to keep your emotions in check. Is there anyone you sort of learn from in the game?
I think it's you know, from being a former player and being able to, you know, step into the arena and you know, while others are sort of, you know, losing theirs in terms of the atmosphere, and that you got to keep yours, and I think it's always been that way, and making sure that you're doing your job and you're called in terms of the purpose for the team. And I think I've always had that, and that's sort of maintained as from a player into the management side. And I think from a management side, I think you got to be careful that you don't get too emotionally connected in the game, because you got to see things tactically whilst the game's going on. So you have to stay in a zone, an element to be connected with the players, but to be able to give clear instructions at that split second, and be adaptable at that split second. So all those things you're still learning and developing as a manager, and but you learn and develop by the different cases and scenarios you're placed in, but you're reliant on the experiences that you've been in before as a player and as a coach, and now as a manager, and trying to adapt and deal with those situations at a split second.
I was just going to ask you finally, obviously your league positions, you know, it's outstanding, you've had a brilliant run, but you've had sort of adversity in some respects in terms of players going out with injury, and you've had quite a lot of that, but you kept the show on the road. That must be very pleasing.
We've had to, Leon, because I don't think you can sit back and harbour on, we've lost him and he's gone out now and we got to look back at that. We've had another one, Callum Patterson's out, and we've got to readjust the pack again, and somebody else has got to deputise and step in, and that's the team and the squad what we've had to do. And we just wish Pato a real speedy recovery, but now it's kind of keep the momentum has to keep going, the focus has to keep going. The games are coming thick and fast, and we can't sit back and look back at what happened yesterday. We've got to look what's happening today and what's look ahead in the future and be prepared for it, and that's always been our mentality here.
Best of luck, Darren. Thank you.
Cheers, Leon. Good to see you, mate.
See you.
All right, Darren.
Hello, Ken. You okay?
How are you, mate? Nice to talk to you.
Yeah, and you too.
Listen, I won't keep you long. Leon basically asked you the question I was going to ask you, which is how the hell do you keep your cool when the team's doing spectacularly well, you know, the 9 hours and 16 games without defeat and 11 wins and all the rest of it. But I would like to, if you wouldn't mind, because I'm not that close to the club, find out what Elaine's second name is and what she did for the club.
Elaine Murphy.
40,
Yeah.
40 years.
She worked here for 40 years. Different roles, in it, different positions, different roles at the club, a multitude of different, multitude of different roles. Yeah, without a doubt, Ken. Yeah.
When you lose somebody like that, Darren, who's been, you know, part of the club for so long, it does tend to put everything into context, doesn't it? You know, Liam's talking about how cool you are and everything, but you seem to have a great grasp of staying level and looking at situations like poor Elaine.
Yeah, in terms of looking at, you know, we've been on this run of games and the level coolness on the pitch is because, Ken, there's always more you can do to be better. So there's always other areas of the game that we're always looking to improve. I think if you sit back and you accept where you're at and tap yourself, and it doesn't work, it really, because there's always areas to improve because the game's ever moving every single week. And you've got to move with the times with it. So keeping that, really, there's always work to be done. And when you come through the fixtures, there's always on to the next one to prepare for and make sure you're as planned and as detailed as you can. So there's always that element. That's on the pitch. Off the pitch, I'm a very much people's person. And I like to know people within the club and the fabrics of the football club away from the football. And that for me, you know, Elaine, you know, is part of the family here, and what she's done here long before I arrived has been remarkable in terms of the time spent at this football club in building this football club, in helping this club be a mainstay within the city of Sheffield and the community of Sheffield. She's been part of it, and you don't get to see these people, and I had the beauty of meeting her. I have the beauty of talking about her now to a wider population of Wednesday fans and others, really, about what a special lady she was. And I thank you to her family for allowing us to have us for so long, and we just really, on behalf of Sheffield Wednesday, we just want to say thank you, Elaine. And as I said, you know, what you've done here at the football club has been marvellous, and we continue your good work, and we much appreciate and loved her here for being here at the football club.
Well said, Darren. That's really nice of you. You go and pay your respects to her, and good luck tomorrow.
Cheers, Ken. Thank you.